I know it's been a while. I haven't posted anything of interest lately, other than a couple brief things. So I was figuring what I could post about. And so I figured I'd cover a little bit of horror for you. Hello and welcome to Larry's Topics. Today we're going to discuss not one particular topic. We're going to bounce around a little, if you don't mind. All right. Everyone wonders where. A lot of people wonder where Wes Craven actually got the idea for the Freddy Krueger glove, and he admitted it was from, of all sources, his cat sharpening its claws on its curtain. And he's like, that would be cool if there was a killer that had a hand like that. And he told the the props people what he wanted. Gave him an idea, just the idea, and they went to work, and we got the iconic glove that we have nowadays. And another side note, in it's the same glove in the first Freddy movie and the second movie. But after the filming wrapped in the second movie, the glove disappeared. And when you watch the first movie, when the hand's coming up between Nancy's leg and the bathtub, you'll notice that the right index finger's blade broke and was rewelded. Right? Here's another one for you. Did you know that in every Nightmare on Elm Street, the glove is given the name the Hero Glove, right? This is all of them, but in Freddy versus Jason, Freddy's glove, because of how much bigger and more vicious looking it is, they gave it the nickname the Tank because it was one of the biggest gloves made for Freddy Krueger. Another side noted fact, the bands that went across the fingers of Robert Englund's, the metal parts of the glove, the metal rings that went across the fingers, had to be tapped down with a hammer so they would fit to Robert Englund's hand more comfortably because he could fit lengthwise for the most part, but his fingers weren't wide enough. So he couldn't, you know, move them properly. So they tapped him down with a hammer and just pretty much did it every time just to make sure it fit Robert in a more fluid, movement and gesturing. Okay. Let's see, what else? Did you know that Jason Voorhees, the reason Jason Voorhees looked the way he did when he was a little boy was because his father was a severe alcoholic and severely, violently abusive. And during Pam's pregnancy, he used to beat her repeatedly. Well, get drunk and beat her. And then the abuse continued after Jason was born. His dad proceeded to beat him after he was born. And it wasn't until the day Pamela had grown sick of it and had snapped and she killed his father in a violent rage. It was the same violent rage that caused that actually was amplified when Jason died, leading to the deaths of all the camp counselors when they tried to reopen Camp Crystal Lake. Another fun fact for you: the reason the woman that played Pam Voorhees accepted the role was because she needed money to buy a new car. Let's see what else is there. Do you know the inspiration for Michael Myers for John Carpenter was a real kid? And it was actually, he was on a field trip, and part of, I think, his psychology class, before he decided to go on, become a director and that, he actually went and visited, a mental institution. And while he was sitting there, or while he was going through, he saw this kid look like he was about 6, 7 years old. And he said, and it's used in the movie. He said he had the blackest eyes I'd ever seen. They were, they weren't normal. They were the devil's eyes. And Loomis says that about Michael, and that's actually how the kid, he describes the kid that inspired Michael Myers. He doesn't know what the kid was in there for. The kid didn't talk or anything. He just stared at you, and it wasn't like he stared at you. He said it was like he was staring through you to your soul, and it creeped him out. And that's where the inspiration for Michael Myers came from. And Freddy Krueger was actually inspired or named after, kind of, he was named after a kid that used to bully Wes Craven when he was little. And the basin for the idea for the Freddy Krueger killing people in their sleep actually is because Vietnam survivors, not Vietnam soldiers per se, but Vietnam survivors as a Vietnamese. There were cases where young men would have, night terrors and would wake up screaming, and so they put off sleeping because of these night terrors. And there was many cases where eventually they did go to sleep, woke up screaming, and when their families came in to check on them, they were dead. Actual cases. And that's where the idea for Freddy Krueger came from, and the bully was where he got the name from. Alright? Most people don't know this, but Michael Myers actually, in the books, was supposed to be the ghost of a young man who watched a couple from the bushes during the time of the Celtic era that were getting busy, and after they finished getting busy, he's come out of the young Celtic man come out of the bushes and proceeded to kill both the girl and her lover. And then, having no reason for doing this, there was no reason, no jealousy, nothing. They just did it. So, as punishment, druids that had seen him do this came out and cursed him to be basically a soulless entity trapped to basically relive his life as a human over and over again as torment and punishment. And that's why he had such an affliction for young teenagers that got busy. Let's see, what else is there? I know there's more. The plot of The Mark of Thorn for Michael Myers. Yes, there was a lot of people that thought that was bad, but it was the only way directors could think of how to explain how Michael keeps coming back. Even now, they're using something or another about he's transcending blah blah blah, but inevitably he will die because he is aged. He has no regenerative capabilities. He experiences pain that an injury. He eventually will succumb and to his injuries and die, if not his injuries, then of old age. And that is why I feel the way I do about it. Yes, I love Michael Myers. Huge fan. I love Jason Voorhees. I love Freddy Krueger. It's just, well, yeah. You get the idea. I'd hope. Do you know there was originally supposed to be a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason, and it was supposed to end differently than it did? See, how it was supposed to end was in one of the cabins, one of the counselor cabins, on a shelf. There was supposed to be a lament configuration, the box from Hellraiser, and somebody was supposed to have picked it up, and Jason was supposed to kill him, and in doing so, their fingers grazed the top of it, making it move, the top plate to move, which causes the box to open. Out steps Pinhead towards the end of the fight, and he says, Gentlemen, what seems to be the problem?" Then there was going to be they were kicking around, titles and that for it, because they had already started a script. And the title was basically, just for the namesake of it for the moment, for the time, they were going to call it A Hell-Raising Friday the 13th Nightmare on Halloween. But it did not come to fruition, and yeah, that's pretty much where it ended. If you wanted a sequel to it, you would actually need to grab up comic books, because that's where they continued it too, was Freddy vs. Jason in comics, featuring, of all people, Bruce Campbell as Ash. Why they went that route with the comics, I do not know, other than he possesses the Necronomicon. Other than that, I have no idea, but it was very popular for those that did read it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If I can think of anything else, I will let you know. Have a good day. Bye.